G'day everybody, it's story time, and we're gonna go back to the ancient days, to kings and queens and battles and beyond, and talk about why do you think that kings and queens, they both have the problem, they do it together, like to build up a big wealth. You know, we've got it all in the movies, we've got all the stories about it. Is that kings and queens like to build up a wealth, diamonds and jewels. They think that ultimate power is wealth. But we see over and over and over and over again that ultimate power is not wealth. Right? And ultimate power is not just one thing, which people mostly try to put it to. Well, it's close. That's a close one. It's in the top ranks. Right? But here's another one, just with the 50-50, I'm going to chuck in another one that gives you power besides wealth. And that is caring and being honest. Love. Right? But we all know that ultimate wealth over time kills love, doesn't it? It really does. We've got thousands of years of history telling us that, right? And so, what sickness has not healed since all those times? Is it thinking power is wealth? Then more than power is knowledge? Because that's another top ranking. What can give you power? They're the top three, pretty much what I've mentioned now. And most of them just want the knowledge and the jewels, don't they? Or they stick with two. Right. Because they don't like the love one when they like the other two heaps. The other two are in the top before love. See, love should be the toppest, right? But it never is. It seems to be the wealth, more than likely, when you look at it all, the knowledge, and then love if it comes along, but that's usually more domination and other things come in instead because of those other two, because they're missing the love, and so they'll bring in all these other factors that we know of, that we've repeated over and over again. And so we need to keep that love factor, if we can, or get it there, to the top. Like connection, like what I talk about with the government. First, you do the basics before you think space, all the rest, the jewels, the gizmos. Right? You got to get your basics sorted out: homelessness, jobs, food, and water to every area that you can, and prepare for natural disasters, things to happen. Everyone should have backup, so if things do go wrong, they got backup. Back in the old days, they had that one, but that one seems to just be, like I said, we do things that are right, and then we think doing something better and different, something different is better, and it's not. And then we forget about the old things, and then if we talk about, oh, that was the old days, you know, this is the new days, you know, people like to be smart asses like that, but yet there is still things, oh, we go back, we talk about it in science. So I'm sick of hearing these smart ass people, definitely coming out of leaders' mouths at particular times that are important, right? They've got plenty of time to talk about that shit later and at home and a cup of tea and put a YouTube tube out and freedom of speech. But mucking around and carrying on and stuff like that in important times is just a joke, really. But what can we do if it keeps happening? And they're the power people. You can't do anything except freedom of speech if they let you do it. But what do you reckon? Do you reckon that we can get rid of that problem that we keep getting occurrence? And you know why we've failed, all these kings and queens and ways of living has collapsed and failed, and then you look at them and it's all a war, and then you look at the same thing, and we're building up to the same thing, people, in this one, for this society collapse and talking about it. Because we had the same principles as what I was just talking about that failed, right? They haven't put the love principle first. They didn't keep up with that one to make sure everything's right. Because a failure is not because they killed too many people. If you got a lot and kill something, they won't really know. It's not really that. I noticed during the 90s that was happening. But as long as people are fed, mainly, right? I'm not saying you can still do bad things behind the scenes, but I'm saying what collapses a society besides a wall when it collapses within itself, and most really do after walls and stuff, as we've seen in stories, right, is because of the money and the jewels, and you see everyone run off in the money because that's what they think the priority is. And they go, we us humans have got the same weird factor. And after all this problem, I can run back and get these jewels because we're going to look up to the factor because the same weird factor we keep doing, which is keeping the gold and jewels a lot in the last few thousand years. We have changed to a few other things. We used to use cocoa at one stage from that we have chocolates in the poorest countries pump out the most money, you could say. They're just in the wrong era. Right? I mean, that's because the tree wasn't around as much, right? They just made another way of money. But money can be supplied in so many ways, produced so many ways, and it should stay as a gold coin thing. And I'm not saying that money can be used as well in computer systems. I can see you can do a 50-50, but it should never get rid of the coin factor. Otherwise, you only get to the gold and other things. But the coin factor is always good to have because some people like to feel that you can hold it and you know that the sun or a bomb or a device won't delete your money because that's a true factor when it comes to digital currency. Right? They can disappear, can be stolen like that and you don't even know. Like no one's coming into your house or you didn't hear your local bank, no one's fighting for it. Right? But anyway, I'm blabbing away. What do you reckon about my theory? You reckon that it'll never change, hey, until we can get that love on top and do a little bit more about a lot of things I've been saying about what is too much money? What do we look up as too much money? Why do we look up to people with all this money? And things like that. We need to change the way we think, right? And then as soon as we do that, we program our kids and we change them, and then their kids. After a while, it'll be a total different way of thinking. Because if you grab someone from thousands of years ago, Bill and Ted sort of does that, and brings them here, they can't fit in. They're different way of thinking, their laws, and because everyone programs like trying to teach an old dog new tricks, right? And so they're stuck in a program. Religion people tell you this when they finally got out of a dodgy religious system. It takes a while to get over it. But then their kids who grow up in the new system, they get over it straight away. They don't even understand, right? They just move on. And that's why it's good when it comes to the kids. They really help things move on. And you start from then when we want to do a change and you make sure they're right. And you got to tell them that the kids, yep, we were wrong. Yep, we did this. And now we're going to do this and you're going to do that. And then you're going to make it even better or whatever else that you find in the future because we will change and things will change. You'll always find differences. What are we going to do when aliens turn up? What are we going to do when this happens, you know? What are we going to do? And things change. And so we change rules. And when we get too many people, you got to change rules. Well, you get more farming and things need to get cheaper and so on. We've got to change. Hearing about these laws that you can never change sounds ridiculous. I'm not saying that shouldn't be laws that are harder to change. So you got to talk about it longer for a year or two, and everyone has to get to know about it before you get to change those laws. Right? Laws are harder to change, right? And you got to have big conversations, maybe 2 years, right? You have big conversations so everybody knows. You make sure when it comes to those laws that you can change that everybody knows in the end. Enough time it's been said enough. You be like, you get to a point where the bloody hell have you been on fucking planet Whoop. If you go to a shop, right, and you've had signs up, you put signs up, you got to make it so these people have to be push people, so it'll be down to 1% at least when they wouldn't see it or wouldn't know about it, right? And get them to make sure that they've got enough information. Go check this site. If you're interested, please check this site. Give them a site or something that they can, even a bushman, go to the local blah, 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 and you can check this. It's important. We're changing a rule that's permanent, right? Like they're doing with the voice. That way it's across and there's no mistake, no deadline. Well, it's a long time. It's probably best to have a long time than a deadline, right? Anyway, and everyone's, sick of hearing it and they're all ready to vote and you've got enough of that for it. And you know that everyone's pretty much, done, right? And they're talking about it. And then you go, all right, let's go do this vote. And we've made sure we've covered all covers, right? We've said all the truths that we need to say. It's been long enough so everyone can absorb it and find out if anything was false as well, because sometimes you got to find out things. It takes a little while to find out they're false. Right? Check up on everything and then change the big laws so they can still be changed every couple of years, can't they? When it comes to laws that cannot be changed, because sometimes they do need to be changed. It's like they were talking about today about the old people who quickly whipped up the laws back then that they said it can't be changed. Well, who says that, right? They can be changed. They're just harder laws and well, good laws, but when you think about it, they can be changed, right? Just like these other laws that are just flying out, like you can't make noise now, now they can just change laws without everyone really noticing. Because I didn't know when it comes to the new law that here that you can't make a noise at any time if someone has got an excuse, right? And they can complain on you. I don't know if that's changed yet or not. They haven't come and sent me another letter. I think they pretty much will if they come and give me a letter to tell me about it. So I'm pretty sure if it changed, they'll come and give me a letter going, look mate, it's changed back now to certain times, and you got to have a legit reason, not just they can, right? That's what I got told. It's pretty ridiculous, and you just can't. But anyway, that's what happens, and maybe they were just trying that law out. Just like when it comes to the marijuana law, it doesn't hurt to find out a law. Like sometimes governments will fuck up, but if they get told to fuck up and then they still keep it in there and loopholes to get told about it, and then they don't change things quickly or fix fuck ups that they've done, like they go, oh, we'll change it now, but they won't fix the problem that already occurred by having it in, because that's what they got to do. And because when they do that, that really makes them think not to fuck up again. Really, doesn't it? When it hits them hard about what issues they cause, when I cause about taking people's licenses because they've had a drug, not because they're on it now as they're driving. So they're just treated as any other person. They're losing a license because they've had a drug before. You know, they should change their ads, like I've said before. Change ad to, here in Australia, if you've had marijuana, don't think about driving because you'll eventually get caught, like drink driving, eh? Don't be a bloody idiot. Come in Australia and think about having marijuana and drive. Don't be a bloody idiot. You're going to eventually get caught, right? Because we've got you good, mate. 6 months, you're going to get caught way more high, aren't you, than on alcohol? Because you got 6 months of driving out like you're on alcohol, but you're not since you've had it, right? Or 3 months, or it's a 50-50 kind of thing. Because that shit is like that. Like I said, I got one that passed, and then the next week it didn't, right? Or it didn't, and the next week it didn't. And in my case, nothing ever changed. The time period wasn't that long. So it's the same thing, isn't it? Right? But anyway, I don't want to go on about that. I'm a little annoyed because I wanted to have my say, and it cost me money to have my say, and they wouldn't let me have my say. And I thought that sucks. And then when I had my say, well, they did. But then they hit me with, you've had it, and that's it. Right? But my say was about taking my license away from me, telling me that I'm a dangerous man. They said, you're a dangerous man. You know what? I think the government people are dangerous people. It's just like the Nickelback song, hey? They screw us they screw us over, and they get a yacht behind the scenes later on. Anyway, have a good one. See you.